The Columbia River and Pacific Ocean offer multiple bucket list fishing opportunities. I study them closely and am constantly learning and revising my techniques. Every time I leave the dock, it is my goal to help my clients have the best day possible. It doesn't matter if your goal is to catch and cook, catch and release, or explore the beauty and history of our area. My name is Jared. I'm captain at River Wanderer Outdoors. What you're seeing now is my morning commute, and I would be honored to help you bring home memories to share.
All right, so now that I'm back in the shop here, let me just go ahead and talk about a couple of new developments and what my plans are going forward this season for fishing and for all the other excitement that we've got going on, or that I've got going on. I keep saying we, but it's really just kind of me and Shadow, the barn cat. But he's off camera right now. So, first things first though, because some of you may have not seen it, if you've been on my boat, you know I'm pretty fond of my hoodies, unless it's raining, then I prefer my raincoat. But right now, I would like to introduce to you my very, very first hoodie design. So this is my 2026 Buoy 10 hoodie pattern, inspired by some really famous Japanese artwork, the Great Wave. Includes Buoy 10, we've got Cape Disappointment, and, well, pretty much all the salmon you could catch. Super excited about this design. Really, really love it. On the back, just in case you forget the phone number, you can always have someone look at your back and let you know where to go to book your fishing trip. I also have hats now, a couple of different styles. This is sort of the basic one with the logo. There's also a few others that I'm working on right now. Merchandise isn't my main business, but I figured that, you know what? I've had people ask for it, so I'll go ahead and get some made. It's all print on demand. I'm not planning on making 1,000,001 t-shirts or 1,000,001 hoodies, so it does take a little bit to get to you, but hopefully you'll like the quality. These are the testers that they sent me. I appreciate them. I think they look good, so we'll see how they wear, and you'll be seeing me wear them on the river. Now let's go ahead and just start going through the season here real quick. We've got some okay run forecasts predicted for spring Chinook, so I'm going to be starting those middle of March. Calendar's already up online for you guys to book if you want to. So right now it's wide open. I do have a couple of dates where folks have stepped in. So those last 2 weeks in March, probably the first week in April. That's what I have up on the calendar. Last year they shut us off on April 5th. So that's sort of where I went to setting up my calendar. That last little bit is really going to be dependent on what the dam counts do and where they set us for seasons. They always open it up through the beginning of April, and then it's just really depends on what those dam counts are. So I'll keep everything up on Facebook. I'll be watching what the numbers are, and then you can too. The run forecast for the snake is up, especially on the wild side, which is really, really good for the wild salmon restoration programs there. The Willamette, not so much. So those of you who are really into those snow bellies, I would not expect to see quite as many of those as last year. If you're a Multnomah Channel sort of person, I'm not really. I've never fished Multnomah Channel before. I might have to do some test fishing out there this year just to get dialed in case I decide to go that direction. Those folks are probably we're probably gonna be seeing a lot more of those folks down our direction. Willamette's expected to be down about 17% or so. It's enough to where they're not even allowing the 2-rod endorsement, which they usually allow on the Willamette, especially Multnomah Channel. Really popular fishery, but I would expect to see some of those guides coming down here. I'd expect to see a little bit more pressure down here, so making sure that we get our dock departure times set and early and get out to our spots when we're fishing on anchor on the outgoing tide, going to be really, really a lot more important than what it usually is probably. But you know what? All of our usual tips and tricks are still going to apply. And quite frankly, I can't look forward enough to getting some really nice, juicy springers on my plate. When I'm not fishing for springers this spring, and the ocean's good, gonna be lingcod and rockfish if folks want to take a trip out there. Absolutely excellent, wonderful changes this year when it comes to lingcod. Our limit on lingcod's going up to 3. Still got to be 22 inches, but our lingcod population is strong enough they're bringing us up to 3. Now, if you've been paying attention on rockfish, you also know that partway through this year, they dropped us down to 3 fish on rockfish. They brought us back up to 4. We're not up to the 5 we usually get, but at least we'll be able to fill that extra slot with one of the lingcod instead. So it's still the same number of fish. Personally, I prefer the lingcod over, say, like a black rockfish or something like that. So we'll just be focusing a little bit more on trying to get those nice, big, fat lings on board. Cabezon's still going to have to wait till July 1 before we can keep them. So we'll be crying as we say goodbye to a few of those early on in the season. The other mainstay, especially if the springers are a little bit slower, just we aren't able to fish for them, and the ocean's not doing so great, our other mainstay is going to be catch and release sturgeon. Those things have been on fire the last couple of years. We haven't been able to keep them. We're not expected to get a retention season anytime soon down here below Bonneville. It's my guess right now that that's probably going to be a 5 to 6 year phenomenon. As much as I don't really appreciate that, I wish we could figure out a way to get more of those smaller sort of slot limit size fish. The fish we have, the problem is the fish we have, they're all super big jumbos. Last year we had about a 9.5 footer was sort of the largest we saw at the boat, but our average fish was still around that 6-7 foot range, well outside that slot limit. These are all oversized fish. They're a blast to catch. Can't take them out of the water for pictures. We did have 1 or 2 come in that would have been within the slot limit, so hopefully that's a good sign. But the sea lions have just been hammering on them, and that just makes it hard for us to get fish in that right size. I am hearing good news from some of the surrounding tributaries, especially down the Tillamook Basin, where they're seeing a lot of juvenile sturgeon down there. So maybe some of those will move up through the ocean and come back up into the Columbia once they get up a little bit bigger and aren't under quite so much pressure from the seals and sea lions. So fingers crossed, but it's not going to be this year, and it's probably not going to be next year. As we move on through, if we follow the pattern we had last year, probably end of April, beginning of May, we're going to open back up again for springers. You can tell I'm not an AI because I keep messing up my words. We're probably going to open back up for springers. Late springer season last year wasn't anything to write home about. I mean, we definitely caught some fish. We had a few really great days, a few really bad days. But, you know, a good day out on the water is better than a bad day at the office. And the nice thing about that time period, too, is if the springers are being slow, they're not wanting to cooperate, or maybe they're just not showing up. I have a tendency to call around, see if other folks are seeing fish. If they're not, we can always jump, and I always bring gear to swap over for a sturgeon fishing day. So we might start out for springers and then swap over to sturgeon just to make sure that we get everybody on some action, everybody gets to fight some fish that day, even if we aren't necessarily going to be able to bring home some of that premium spring Chinook into our freezers. Then, as we're moving into June, it looks like the ocean forecast is going to be about the same. The ocean conditions last year were about the same as they were the year before, which means that our coho smolts have been doing really well. And so I would expect another year with a strong coho run. For those of you who were not part of this last year's coho run, it was amazing. Just hands down, stupid, crazy fishing. Period. There's just no way to describe this last year's coho run on the Columbia. Don't know about anywhere else, but on the Columbia as anything but abso-flippin'-lutely ridiculous and off the hook. I mean, we saw so many fish. Big fish too. Our size was really, really good. Now, we do have some ocean conditions changing. The La Nina is supposed to be going away. The El Nino is coming in. Tends to warm up our ocean, reduce the oxygen levels, move the nutrients north. So we might not see quite the size this year as we did this last year, especially if the bait thins out. That bait relies on, well, I'll do a few science videos later on, but that bait generally grows better in cooler water. We might see more anchovies versus herring out in the ocean. That's okay. I like fishing with a lot of anchovies. So hopefully we'll still get decent size. I'm guessing a pretty good coho run again. Chinook run, don't really have a good sense on it. Chinook out in the ocean was pretty good this last year. By the time they got in the river, it was could be a little hit or miss, but then towards the end of the buoy 10 season in August, it lit right up. So June, coho going to be about that big. July, they're going to be about that big. August, they're going to be about that big. And September, you're looking at, regularly encountering 15-pound coho. We're also going to have Chinook out there in the ocean, being able to do some combined bottom fish and salmon trips. Maybe a few runs down to one of my favorite places, which is Tillamook Head Lighthouse. That creepy old lighthouse is just awesome to fish for weird looking fish next to. Spooky fish, spooky lighthouse. It's great to pull up some cabezon and lingcod and rockfish right next to that thing. So we're going to be heading down there, hopefully doing some combo trips where we run down early in the morning, load up on all those bottom fish, and then troll our way back with the winds so we aren't getting beat up. If we get some really good bar conditions, it's going to be awesome to be able to run those trips and come back to the dock with a full day of fishing behind us and a full boat of fish. And then full coolers in your car on the way home, which is also always good. But I always remind everybody, it's about the trip and the experience. You're going to eat the fish and it's going to be gone. But the trip and experience, that's what you're going to keep. Then as we roll into August, we'll see sort of the usual buoy 10 action again. I'm guessing if we follow the regular year, it's, here I am talking about something that's literally like 8 months out from now. I'm guessing first couple of weeks, it's going to, as long as they keep the ocean open, it's going to be a toss-up between what's better, the ocean or the river. Generally speaking, the river is slow at all. I like to go to the ocean. We're just much more likely to get into fish, get into a lot of fish, a lot of bigger fish, and you got a lot more elbow room around you. So I'm not worrying about maneuvering the boat around other people. I can just focus on keeping the lines right and keeping the lines in good shape. Weird currents aren't messing with me, and it's just a much easier and much more relaxed way to catch salmon. Believe it or not, crossing the Columbia River Bar can actually result in an easier way and more relaxed fishing day than being inside the river during buoy 10. Last 2-3 weeks of August though, it's going to be a river show. Usually they close the ocean at that point, usually because we've hammered on the Chinook a little too much, and they close the ocean and focus everything in the river. Given our weather, given what I'm seeing on snowpacks right now, my expectation would be that we're going to see lower flows coming down the Columbia later on in the fall, because I just don't see the Cascades or, quite frankly, the Rockies loading up on snow this year. We're predicted to have a fairly warm and relatively dry January. There we go. Cheers, right? And into February. Last year we had that, and then we had storms come through. Literal storms in the middle of August that look like something that we normally see in, December. Roll through, and it sent a bunch of fish upriver. Absent something crazy like that, I'm absolutely expecting that those fish are going to hold up in the bay, hold up in the estuary, and very slowly trickle upriver towards Longview and further on up. So if you're one of those guys that likes fishing the mouth of the Cowlitz, fishing up by Portland, that area, up Bonneville, that area, McNary, all of those guys, Drano, it may, absent one of those big systems coming through, as a guy who fishes in the estuary a lot, we're probably going to be hanging on to the fish a lot longer, which is great for us down here. And then moving in again into September, depending on how long they keep us open for Chinook, usually they try and do that through Labor Day. Maybe we'll get more, maybe a little bit less. It just sort of depends on how the season setting goes. That's the point of another video that I think I'm going to be doing here soon. We'll probably be fishing Chinook at least to Labor Day, and then after that we'll swap over to coho. And those coho, when they come in, people talk about coho rodeos in the ocean. People talk about just the wild craziness that is buoy 10, and they're generally talking about like those last 2 weeks in August. Those fish don't magically just disappear, pack their bags, and head for Drano on, the day after Labor Day, right? They're not going back to work like everyone else. Those fish are still doing their normal salmon thing. What that means is that A-run that we saw in August, it's going to be pretty much at its peak right around Labor Day. it's going to start drifting down a little bit, right? Through September. About mid to late September, it's going to start hitting a dip. And then that B run's going to start coming in. And I tell you what, this last year, into September, beginning of October, again, it was absolutely lights out. Now, we had been fishing on these coho since June this last year. And I was having, in October, second week of October, doubles, triples, quads, multiple doubles, multiple triples, multiple quads. I'd have a boat of 4 guys on board, and we'd have times, we literally had one point. You want to talk about, sorry, little segue here. We had one point where all 4 rods had fish on them. All 4 fish were in the boat except for the one that was in the net. I'm hanging out here, right, getting the fish in the net. It was the one dang wild fish, and an entire batch, right? And as I'm looking down and watching a harbor seal trying to come up and grab that net, I lift the dang fish up out of the water. Don't tell fish in wildlife, but I was getting attacked by a harbor seal, so they're gonna have to get that, right? I'm lifting the fish up, trying to keep away from the harbor seal, trying to get the motor going so we can get going. We've got literally 4 lines crossed over each other in the back of the boat. I'm hanging on to the fish, hanging on to the motor, trying to get away from the harbor seal. I've got clients yelling at the seal, trying to get away from us. Finally get free, get the fish in, trying to keep the fish in water so it can be released. Get the fish free, get it out. Look around, I've got 3 keepable fish, 4 guys. We've got like 2 left on the entire boat. What we keep for the boat. After those 3, and all I can do is just grab the fish and start cutting stuff. I'm snapping things, rebaiting, re-going. That fish took off. The seal chased us, tried to go after the fish again. Fish got free, thankfully. Seal kind of gave us no flipper at the end of all that. And then I'm sitting there trying to bonk, right? We get the fish bonk, get them in. I start getting lines out. We're running a whole herring, just a little red label. I'm running a whole herring. I'm chucking lines out. By the time I get the second line out, another rod goes down. We start pulling that fish, and another rod goes down. There's our last 2 fish for the day. Everybody's just sitting there. 4 hours later, we had 10 hatchery coho in the boat. Great stories to tell. Awesome day on the water, and it was the best, one of the best days I've seen out there. But that's the sort of action we're talking about in October in the estuary. So you just can't beat that, right? You get those nice crisp fall days. You're looking up on the hills. The maple trees are just starting to turn colors. You got Halloween on the way, and you've just got fish everywhere. It's an awesome, awesome experience. So don't discount that. So then I'll fish on those guys. We'll actually start doing some more combination trips with crab in the estuary too. So drop crab pots, go fish for our coho, come back, get our crab, come to the dock with full limits of coho and crab. Had some great clients from, I think, from out of town where we ended up sending them back with, nice couple, send them back with like 4 salmon, limits of salmon, plus a limit of crab, and they're heading to like Nebraska, right? How popular do you think they were in their neighborhood when they went home with air boxes shipped, thanks Gazelic Seafood, of fresh Dungeness crab, and they'd frozen it for the trip, but basically just caught coho salmon. These guys would have paid thousands of dollars for that to try and get it local, to try and get it flown in at a restaurant or high-end supermarket or whatever. They came out, had a blast, caught their fish, and went back home and had an absolute fun story to tell. So I'm looking forward to a lot more of that sort of action this next year. In addition to maybe a few more designs if people really like the merchandise. But again, my focus is going to be on the fishing, right? This is just secondary, but my focus is going to be on the fishing. It's the thing I love. It's the thing I enjoy. And making sure that you guys as clients can have the best experience on my boat possible. With that, I look forward to seeing you this year, and I can't wait for you guys to join me on the boat.